Hello and welcome to West Country Wanderings. Welcome to, well, something a little bit different. And I even say which county I'm in, because the county I'm starting in isn't going to be the county we're going to be filming in. It'll all make sense, don't worry. I've got a book recently, and I had a look at it. Well, actually, it's in my mum's bookcase, and I was looking for something else. It kind of fell out. I'm thinking, have I looked at that before? And it's called Deserted Villages, and it set me off on a journey of exploration. I have actually looked at a couple of deserted villages. I did a couple, 2 or 3 of them, in the Cotswolds a little while ago. And this book, which is a Shire publication. Now, Shire books are excellent because they are really, really good if you want to know things rural, anywhere in the UK, and you'll often pick them up in like touristy places out in the country. They're excellent books, and this is a Shire archaeology publication, and it's probably about 40 years old. Well, I had a look through the book, and it mentions in there a couple of villages, deserted villages, in the county of Gloucestershire, which is not where we are at the moment. You may recognise where we are behind me. That there is Pershore Abbey, so we're in the county of Worcestershire. And the village that we're going to be exploring today isn't that far from here. It's actually near a village called Honeybourne, which is also in Worcestershire, which once sat on the line between Cheltenham Spa and Stratford-upon-Avon, where it met the Cotswold line. There was an important junction there. And near that village, which is in Gloucestershire, so it sits right on the border, close to the Gloucestershire-Worcestershire border, was once a village called Lower Norton. And it's to that village we're going to do a little bit of an exploration because it looks really interesting. Now, it doesn't appear on the present day map at all. There's nothing there obvious at all. So if you're looking at it, you wouldn't even know there's anything there. But if you go back to the 1885 map, you can see it clearly marks the site of a chapel that once was there, and that disappeared in subsequent editions. But one of the gentlemen, I think it was called Trevor Rowley, that wrote the book, in conjunction with somebody else. He did a lot of exploration of that in the 70s. So we're going to head over there. The reason I've come here to Pershore, here in Worcestershire, to start the video though, is I'm doing a little bit of a meetup. We might do it as a separate little collab with a gentleman called Roy Edwards, who lives in the county here of Worcestershire, beautiful county. He lives a bit further to the north in Redditch, so he's come down south here to Pershore to meet up with me today. So we're going to do that. So a couple of things going on, and I may be doing, I'm not sure yet how this will pan out, doing another video in the area as well, a little short bite. So I hope you can join me again here on West Country Wanderings to have a look at a deserted village in Gloucestershire, but currently in Worcestershire. Well, I can't come to Pershore without showing you the amazing bridge here. This is over the River Avon. I may have shown this before in a video, but some time ago, so you may not have seen it. This one dates from 1413, so it's a medieval bridge, although bits have added on since then. In fact, a significant repair. Why repair? Well, because on the 5th of June 1644 this bridge was blown up on the orders of the king. Yeah, obviously all to do with the English Civil War. There'd been quite a bit of a skirmish down there in the city of Oxford, further there in a little bit of the east, and they're heading towards the direction of Worcester, where there was a famous final battle of the English Civil War, of course, and under the king's instructions they blew up this bridge right in the middle there. So it's obviously been repaired. In I think it was 1928-29, they added on this bridge here. Yeah, it's not quite so nice, is it? But it's got a graceful arch to it. So that was added to take the traffic in the direction of Evesham. But yeah, I just love this beautiful medieval bridge heaver over the River Avon here in the beautiful town of Pershore. Now, the other reason that this beautiful medieval bridge over the River Avon is of relevance to our story is because of the date, around 1415. Well, that would probably in the date that our medieval village was in existence, just over the border there in Gloucestershire. Yeah, it's beautiful. Obviously you can see it has been restored in places. They probably added some new coping bits. You can see these here are a lot older coping stones on the top of the bridge than the ones here. There you can see these flatter ones. So is it possible that those there, apart from the original bridge And these here date from the time, or just after the time, that the bridge was blown up by the king on the orders of him during the Second English Civil War. I think quite possibly, because this bit is here almost in the centre of the bridge, and that is the River Avon back in the direction that's heading upstream, the direction of Evesham and Stratford-on-Avon. So I've got Roy with me here from Roy Edwards' channel, who I've been following since the early days when you did, well, quite a while ago now. Yeah, it must be getting on 5 years, isn't it? Yeah. And I just want to congratulate Roy, because he's just gone over the 6,000.
6,014 now, as we speak. But
that's brilliant.
I've just done the Upton Blues Festival, and they're on at the moment, and I think I've got a few new subscribers from that, so it's got me over to the 6,000. And hi to all Paul's viewers.
Thank you.
I like his channel, so I've followed him from the start, because when you first started you asked me about what camera I was using and that.
Yeah, and like the settings and editing and that sort of thing.
Sony.
That's right.
That's all I use, which is pretty good.
It's a good camcorder, that.
It's, you know, I use the Action somewhere in the pocket.
Yes.
I use them now.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're going to have a bit of a wander around, I guess. Yeah. It's starting to rain a little bit, but hopefully it won't be very much. Yeah, come back. Thanks, Roy. Cheers. So currently inside Pershore Abbey, this is the abbot's tomb. Abbot Edmund Hurt, and he was the head of Pershore Abbey between 1456 and 1479. And to say that Pershore Abbey was one of the largest medieval abbeys in England. It was actually bigger than Worcester Cathedral, which is extraordinary, really. In fact, there's gates outside the main entrance which extend right back towards the car park there, and that was the original length of the abbey, so it's got smaller over the years, and it had a monastery, a large cloister, kitchens and a refectory. And this here is the Crusaders' tomb, who once an important knight, it could have been Sir William de Harley, but they're not sure.
It was little.
Got Roy with me again. We've just had a good look around. What did you think of the Abbey?
Oh, it's fantastic. Really good. Really enjoyed that.
Because they've got is it Abbot's tomb, isn't there? The Abbot that was up there. And then you've got the Crusaders' tomb as well. And some amazing stained glass in there. It's just an amazing place. Apparently the Abbey went from where the door is down there all the way to where the gates are over there, just before that tree in the middle there, but that little roundabout thing. So it was huge. It was actually bigger than Worcester Cathedral at one time, which is incredible to think that now. But so we're just chilling out here. We're probably going to go into the town and grab a coffee, and Roy's been in there filming, taking some images. So don't forget to check out Roy's channel. I'll put a link to it in the description of today's video. Cheers.
Thanks for watching,
Thank
folks.
you. Cheers. Thanks.
See you in a bit.
Brilliant. Got Roy with me, and we've just been looking at the warhorse there. That's amazing. I've never didn't realise it was made out of horseshoes before. What have you been doing on your channel then, Roy, recently?
Recently I've been to the Upton Blues Festival, which isn't really my thing, but I do like doing music videos and meeting people. I had a great time there. And before that I've been in Bridgnorth, and that's a fantastic set of videos there. The Cliff Railway made it for me. That was brilliant. And then I've been to Shrewsbury as well. I went to the prison, but they wanted £15 to go in. so I didn't bother with that. But yeah, Shrewsbury. Then I go to Stratford-on-Avon a lot, which I like there. Plus, I've been to Jersey not so long ago. Some videos on that. Down to Torquay. And all over the place really. And I do a lot of hotel reviews when I'm out and about. They're really popular. I get Isle of Wight videos as well. I get loads of views on those. But yeah, I really enjoy doing
That's great. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think that's the thing with YouTube, is about enjoying it, being out and about and going to different places and just enjoy it.
You meet people. It's like I met Paul and other YouTubers who I haven't actually physically met, but we comment and you get as if you know them, and it's nice, you know, because we all think the same about what we're doing. And that, you know, it's great. It's a lovely sort of hobby for me. I used to have a garage, and I used to do photography every weekend. So I've got a website with 1 million pictures on photoroy.com, or nearly 1 million. But I'd rather not be working on cars, not doing event photography, stress dog shows or motocross. I'm just happy doing what I do. I love it, you know.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for that. We're going to get a drink in town now. Catch up with you in a bit. Thanks, Roy. Brilliant. Yeah. Cheers. Thank you. So I'm here in Pershore High Street, walking along with Roy. Yeah. Here's Roy. Now we've just had a cup of tea. Yeah. Tell my viewers what's just happened, Roy.
Yeah, well we just had the tea, which was really nice, and we're just talking about all our viewers and that. And I said, I'll put my YouTube that on because people recognise me. And the chap come darting out the shop, and what I'll try and do, I might send you a picture out the video. So
that'd be great. Brilliant. I'll include that.
Anyway, he watches from Australia. He's been there 14 years, and he watches all my videos, and he's really pleased. He thanked me, you know, for all my work. That was really nice.
Yeah.
And originally from Bank, and he watched the carnival videos, and
that's amazing.
It was on mine. Yeah, that was fantastic.
You know? It was. Yeah, that was what a thing. Sometimes when you're doing these videos, you do meet people that do watch your videos, and it's always nice when they come up and say hello. So we're going to carry along the high street. We're just going to pop down towards the river, just the other side of Astor there. Catch up with you in a bit. So I'm just by the River Avon here in Pershore. That there is the Avon Navigation Trust. Now the River Avon, unlike a lot of the navigable rivers in England and West Country Wanderings region, and of course the canals, are looked and managed by the Canals and Rivers Trust. But the River Avon is different. It has its own unique navigation trust, the Avon Navigation Trust. So it's like an independent charity that helped to maintain the River Avon between Stratford and right down to where it meets the River Severn in Tewkesbury in Gloucestershire. Well, I've now left Pershore, left Roy in Pershore. We'll actually see Roy again at the end of this video. Really nice to meet up Roy Edwards again. Don't forget to check out his brilliant YouTube channel. And congratulations again, Roy, for getting 6,000 subscribers. Now, our deserted village. I've travelled through Evesham. I've come out about 8 or 9 miles away from the beautiful town of Pershore. And we're here in the heart of the Cotswolds. We're close to a town you may be familiar with if you've ever travelled around the Cotswolds, and that's Chipping Campden. Chipping Campden, in fact, is up there on the hill. And we're below the hill, in fact, that gives the game away. And the name of the village I'm in, a tiny little village. I've never actually been to this village before, and it is stunningly beautiful. traditional golden Cotswold stone there, of course. Beautiful chapel here in the village. Unfortunately, it is locked, so I can't get in there, but I just love that. Isn't that just a beautiful, beautiful chapel? So it gives you an indication that we are looking here at a small village, although it's a small village, it has some very, very large estate buildings around here, including over there. You can see a large barn and a farm there, all around that area over there. Now, our deserted village is about 1.5 miles away along a public footpath, so I've come here to park my car because there isn't anywhere to park where we're heading to look at this deserted village. So let's go on, following the public footpath now, to what was once called Lower Ashton. Now, I'm not sure if this village originally was in either Worcestershire or Gloucestershire, because the border around here has changed. In fact, a nearby village here, Blockley, which was made famous recently in Father Brown, was it? TV drama series, I don't know if you've ever watched that. Mark Williams, great guy. But yeah, that was filmed in Blockley, which up until 1931 was in the county of Worcestershire. So we're in that kind of area where the borders have swapped over many times. But anyway, let's go ahead in the direction of this lost village here in the county of Gloucestershire. Well, it's taken me a while to get here. On the map it looks quite an easy, straightforward route across a flat field. Unfortunately, because the ground has been dry and it's also rained lightly this morning, it's like a slippery surface and there's giant cracks in the ground. I'll show you that now. It was very difficult, and there was the usual bramble and nettles to get over. But I wasn't sure where I got here, where I was, or if I arrived at the right location. I just went through or over a stile. And it sounds really weird, but I could feel something. It felt right. I thought, I've arrived here. There was something definitely here. Well, obviously, here you can see this. This is a former fishing pond. And I think there's about 3 of the 4 of them that lie across there. And this was originally part of the village here of Lower Norton, here in Gloucestershire, though Worcestershire is just over there. Village of Honeybourne and Church Honeybourne is just over in that direction. So yes, so there was a settlement here, and you can see it now. What I'm going to do now is insert a series of aerial maps from the Ordnance Survey which have been taken. You can see it's definitely something in the ground, and you can see these series of ponds which were originally fish ponds, which would have provided a source of food for the manor house which sat over there on its moat. And next to that was a chapel, as you can see. I'll insert it now. Was on the original 1885 Ordnance Survey map. So yeah, the site here of Lower Norton. I'll talk some more about how I think this village became abandoned though, and it's not for the reason that you're thinking of. So here we have something rather amazing. It's an old gate post. Now, did this date from the days that the village was here? I'm not sure. It could well have done. Let's have a closer look at it, because it's certainly very old indeed. Let's look at that there. It's got a latch or part of a hinge down there, and various holes in it. This is the famous Lower Norton. It's got a dedication on it, so it looks like somebody's ashes were scattered here. A gentleman called Noel Henry Wheeler. So there is a farmhouse over there. You can also hear the sheep here. But you've got these scrapes now, and I'm not sure if this was the original size of these fish ponds here, which would have provided food supply for the fishing village. No, we're not in Devon and Cornwall, for the village here in the Cotswolds of Lower Norton. But it's great to see them now, and they're obviously a fantastic nature habitat. So before we discuss the possible reasons why this village became deserted, and obviously nobody knows for sure, is why was a village built here in the first place? Well, one of the most obvious ones is to do with water supply. here, in where those trees are, is the Cam Brook. In fact, that's where the town of Chipping Campden, Chipping meaning marketplace, obviously you've got Chipping Norton and Chipping Ongar, Chipping Sodbury as well. The Cam part of Camden is taken from that, which flows across to Chipping Campden, which I did feature in my video, which went out on Boxing Day, or rather I filmed it Boxing Day, one of my Cotswold walk series. But so we've got a water supply. We've also got very fertile land, but of course it's a bit dry at the moment because of the drought conditions. We're still seeing that as we're walking across here. But it's also, you've got trees here, so good for supply of wood. It hasn't been deforested. You can see plenty of trees in the area, so there'd been a supply of wood for keeping the houses warm, the cottages that were once here. Now we can just make out a depression in the landscape. If you just look there, I'll just zoom in on it, but you can see a depression there, and that's the edge of the moat. So here are fish ponds here. It looks like originally there would have been many more supplying this village of here of Lower Norton, and the moat would have been there. You can just make out like a darker grass, and that's where the outline of the moat is, depression in the land, and the manor house would have sat on top of that moat. And I think the chapel was slightly to the north of it. It's kind of in there, that area, but the whole of the village actually covered quite a large site. So all of this area here, I'll insert a map now which I've got off of Historic England, so you can see the outline of it, all of it over here, and it continued into the fields over here as well. So if we have a look at this field, you'll see what is commonly known amongst archaeologists, and I don't claim to be an archaeologist or indeed an expert in this topic, but you can see in this field here some very distinctive, what are known as lumps and bumps, and that's always a dead giveaway of a former deserted village, or a former village that has since become deserted. So you can see that one down there to the right of that tree. You can make out some dips down the landscape there, and I think our footpath goes through there, so I can't get in that side, so that is private over there. It's part of what is known as White Farm, but I think if I go through the right of way through that gate down there, that'll take me into the field. So there's no livestock in that one, so we should be able to have a better look in that field there. So we're now in that adjacent field, some very dark clouds over there as well. Got the Cotswold Hills rising up towards Chipping Campden over there in the distance on the Cotswold Escarpment, but there you can see out like a sculpted out bit here and some more on the other side. Now it's possible the bit that's snaking around is what is known as a holloway, which would have been the original lane through the village, which was dug out deep because of carts going through it. So I'll just move round again. So I think this is perhaps a track or a lane here, and you can definitely make out a hollowing in this area here, which perhaps indicates where a former dwelling place would have been. Now this side here, I've just moved up into the middle of the field now. You can see some dips there. Here on this bit in the centre of the field, here you can make out quite a few more dips. So we have a dip here, and we have the further one, which I think is a holloway. You can see it coming around probably the northern part of the village. And so yeah, we've got another dip here, another one there, and another one beyond that as well. And here, on the southern edge of this field, got another dip here. So we've got quite a large hollowing here. So perhaps this was a bigger building here. And then we've got something else going on down there. So where the hedgerow is, it dips in before it rises up again with the hedgerow. And here we've got some furrowing going on. Can you make that out there? There's a bit there and another parallel section to it. All fascinating stuff. But what happened here? And what do the historians say about the outline of this village here in Gloucestershire? Now what we do know, of course, is in the medieval times the Black Death arrived. Now, I only found out this recently, that it arrived here in the West Country. In fact, it arrived at a place called Melcombe Regis. You've probably heard of Lyme Regis, but where is Melcombe Regis? Well, yes, you're right. It's in Dorset, and I have featured it on the channel when I was doing one of my lost railway walks from the town of Weymouth to Portland, the Isle of Portland. And Melcombe Regis is just, well, it's effectively a suburb of the town of Weymouth these days. But there is like a cove there, and in there came a ship carrying, with the rats, the Black Death, the plague, and then of course it spread and killed lots of people. But it's not believed to be the reason that this was the demise of this village here, of Lower Norton, here in the Cotswolds in Gloucestershire. Now, 50 years before the Black Death arrived, there was a decline in population, quite a significant decline. Some historians say it could have been a drop as much as 30%, which led to many villages, including quite probably this one here in Gloucestershire, dying off, simply dying off. And why was that? Well, it's a combination of the fact that the population had been growing and growing and growing, and as we are learning now, of course, with climate change and everything else, the planet can only sustain so many people. And obviously technology then was very, very primitive. They didn't have the high intensive methods of food production that we have now to sustain the billions of people that, is it 1 billion, 2 billion, I'm not sure, the population of the people on the earth anyway. So we have intensive methods to keep us all alive through the food. In those days they didn't, and they couldn't create or grow enough food, not that it was transported between countries, but just here in England. And in this small corner of the West Country, it is believed that the food supply was simply inefficient to keep the people alive. And yes, that's probably why the village died out before the Black Death arrived there in the port in Dorset. So what do the historians say, or how do they describe this site here in this corner of Gloucestershire? Well, the description reads as follows on the Historic England website. The moat and deserted medieval village, 160 metres south of White's Farm, survives well. The monument includes a moat surrounding deserted medieval village on low-lying and gently sloping ground immediately to the north. And yes, so that is another reason why they chose this. Apart from the water and the woods, the land is sloping, so it's draining as well. So it makes it very good for growing crops in that sense, so it doesn't actually flood. To the north of the tributary of the River Cam, as in Camden. The moat is trapezoidal in shape, 63 metres long by 45 metres wide and 12 metres ditch. It is the site of a moated house, probably the man house, and to say hence the fish ponds. There are a series of restored fish ponds which we saw, and to the north and west, radiating out, are holloways formed by banks and ditches which run between the boundary banks and building platforms of numerous farmsteads, dwellings and ancillary earthworks. Now there is another possible theory as to why this village may be abandoned, nothing to do with food production going out or the Black Death, but to do with fees and money. Like a lot of the land in this area, the food production, as well as being provided to the local villagers, also went into the Bishop of Worcester's estate, under whose land this governance was, regardless of whether it was once in Worcestershire or Gloucestershire. He took up a lot of income from a lot of the tenanted farmers, and it's believed that they may have also risen the fees up, effectively bankrupting the villagers because they had to pay their dues to the church over there in Worcester, just a few miles to the west of here. Well, they couldn't afford to do it, and unfortunately they then had to abandon their homes. So another possible theory, because that happened in other places elsewhere in this area. I'm just going to catch up with Roy again and thank him for taking part in today's video. So I've got Roy here.
So I'll go around this side, yeah.
We've got Roy.
Yeah, greetings.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, fantastic morning here in Pershore.
Nice relaxing morning, and seen some nice things. And
we have.
Met the chap from Australia.
Yeah. yeah.
So it's been brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah, yeah,
should make a good video.
Yeah, yeah, it's really great to catch up to you. So I will link to Roy's video in the description of today's, and also his channel. He's got very if you think my channel is varied, check out Roy's. He does some amazing things.
I've got over 2,000 videos
wow.
on there. I've had about 1.5 million views or more, you know.
That's phenomenal.
You know.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
But, it's just a hobby. Enjoy it.
That's it.
So
that's
I don't have to do any clickbait.
No,
I could
no,
fall
same.
in there and get Paul to film me. That'd make good
No, we
clickbait.
don't do that stuff and all the negative ones you see, or AI, yeah, all that stuff. No, it's just us two going around. So brilliant, Roy. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. I really enjoyed it. It's great. So don't forget to check out Roy's video. See you all again on our channel soon. Take care. Bye bye now. Bye. Cheers. Bye.